Right, welcome back, guys. I've had some little bits and pieces in the post been delivered today. So we've got some rubbers here for the lights. That's me rubber for me windows. I've got some guys coming around because I'm missing a front window. So I've got a company who's very local to me. They're going to come out and they're going to literally. It's quite clever. They basically mark out the window, and then they cut it literally, outside. They cut it on site to fit the JCB, and then they just put the glass in. So that's all well and good. So they're coming to do that, but I said to them I've got the rubber already because I've got loads of it. But exciting. I've got the cab lights. Look at that, beautiful cab lights. Absolutely lovely. All brand new nuts on them, not nuts, bolts, and then I've got the little rubber to go on the edge. So I've got 4 of them. So for the back and front, so they will be on at some point. I haven't even finished it yet, but we get there. But at least we've got the lights, so that's something. So I'm really happy with them. Great little order. There you are. It's quite handy. They weren't the cheapest thing, but at the end of the day, there's cheaper ones out there. But my advice is don't buy the cheap crap, because it is a load of old crap. It won't fit, and secondly, you'll have a problem. You'll have bigger gaps, and it just won't look right. And personally, you pay for what you get. I've always said that. So obviously, I'm very happy with these. They look smart. They look lovely. And it's going to really make the machine look wonderful when it's done. So, yep, that's my advice, guys. Right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and whatever gender you are. Basically, window wiper motors, JCB C3. Now, this was the original one that came out of my machine. It was just when they painted the JCB, everything was just painted white on the cab, and everything else was painted yellow. So obviously, it being an army one, this should be a dark colour really. But anyway, so this is the colour I'm painting it. So it's going basically black, so it doesn't look like sticks out like sticks out basically. The colour doesn't stick out. If it was white, it would look a mess. Obviously, I've got to put new wires on it. They're just the old wires, just so I know what's what. I took it all apart. It's all been cleaned up. Copper grease, as usual. My usual thing. So that's all been done. Now, with these, to be honest with you, any tractor, cab, wiper motor will work on a JCB. You can make it work. It's not a problem. They all work. This is another one example. This is another JCB one, slightly newer JCB C3. I think this is a Mark III one. But again, you can get a Wallace Jeep wiper motor. That will work, no problems. You can pick them up. You can pick them up. The reproduction one for about 15 quid. Reasonably cheap. They're not expensive. So if anyone tries charging you more money, you know where to go, somewhere else. But you can get them pretty cheap anyway. These probably about a £5, I'd say, second hand. It's all they're worth. They're not worth much more than that. If anyone's selling them for more than a £5, it's a bit wrong really, but there we are. But they're really good. The electrics in the 70s is far better than the electrics today. The quality in the materials is far better. The old 1970s electrics are really spot on. They took their time. They used good quality material. Today it's really just crap, cheap, really cheap plastic, cheaply put together, and things just don't last. So God help us with the new electric cars, because they're not going to last. After 4 to 5 years old, they're going to be falling apart like everything else. So basically, this one's all been cleaned up. This was a right state. I should have had a picture of it. I might have a picture somewhere. If I do, I will put it on the video. If I don't, then it won't be there. So that's that. So this is just a few little videos, little bits and pieces, just to try and help people out. If you've got a JCB and you're missing your wiper motor and you're like, I need a JCB wiper motor, not really. You can use a Wallace Jeep wiper motor, you can use a Leyland tractor wiper motor, anything that's, you know, basically like this will go in, more or less. These are two different JCB ones, so that's an older one and that's a slightly newer one, but you know, anything will work. To be honest with you, this might not even be genuine JCB, this one. Possibly it's not, but there we are, it came out of a JCB. So I'm going to now clean this all up, give this a good clean up, and then we'll give it a nice lick of paint and we'll make it look nice and new, and that'll be another little task done for when we're putting the cab all back, which is probably going to be after Christmas now, because obviously got a few other little bits and pieces to do, but we will get there. I've got a steering wheel video to come on, or it might already be on. There's quite a few steering wheel videos, so yeah, please check them out, and let's get cracking on with this. Right, after cleaning this up a little bit and obviously looking at the part numbers, you can quite clearly see this is not really a JCB, genuine JCB part. This is actually a reproduction part. So basically, like what I was saying, so obviously this one is a genuine JCB one, and this one is not a genuine JCB one, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter as long as it works and does the job, and that's what it was all about. It's an old one, it's a really old one, but like I say, it's cleaned up quite nice. So now it's all about giving it a little bit more of a clean up, and cleaning this all up and giving it a lick of paint. Obviously, because this is slightly different, you know, I'm gonna have to do a little bit different painting to it because it's a different type. So basically, where this one I've got your matte sort of black and then your gloss on there, because that was a matte anyway before. It was a matte black and then that was painted white. So I've just basically, rather than going white because the cab isn't white, that's gone back to black. With this one, it's all quite glossy all the way over. So basically, I'm gonna gloss the whole thing so it's all nice and gloss. We're gonna also try and keep their numbers in there as well, so it's all there. So yeah, let's just clean it up. Let's put a lick of paint on it and see what it looks like at the end. Right, I managed to pick some of these up because my ones were missing off the front loader, so I've basically got two of them. They've just been basically painted just in a primer, just to make them, you know, keep them nice. And then obviously I'll tack weld them. I'm going to tack weld them, and then I'm probably going to seal it all the way around so the water doesn't get behind the back and causes them to rot. Is the main cause. That's now in paint but drying. That won't take too long because it's quite warm in here. I've got some spare ones of these which a friend of mine very kindly gave me, so I've cleaned them up. He might very well be watching this video. JCB wheel nuts, so they've been cleaned up. Some spare ones there. I'll label everything up so I know. I also put the price on it, what it's worth, and I'll label it up, and then I'll keep them as spares. So that's that. That I've got to manufacture that. I've got to make that part again. I've got to make this part so that can go onto the roof. We've then got this next. Actually, this is going to be the next big job to do. It's going to be, there we are, after I've just vandalised the garage. Excellent. So that's the next job. So the next job is basically to repair that window. It doesn't look too bad, as you can just notice there's a hole there that needs to be repaired. That's the only hole on it, so that's good. I'll just cut that out and put a little bit of weld in there. We'll clean that all up so it's all nice, and we'll go from there. So that's probably one of my next little tasks we'll do, so you'll see that on the video all done. Is there anything else around here that we need to talk about at this precise moment? Probably not, so we'll wrap these up, get these little bits and pieces done, and we'll come back on the next video. Obviously there's all the little bits and pieces. There's your JCB plate, door handles. I'll give you a link, actually. I will give you a link to a website that can actually supply you brand new ones. I'll do that on here as well. So yeah, little bits and pieces are slowly getting done. Well, just a quick video for assembling the JCB lamps. Now, because obviously inside, I haven't got the roof here, but because inside the roof you can't get your hand behind the back. So the problem is, because I built it myself and we haven't got any, basically it's getting these screws to screw into what, because obviously you can't just put a bolt on the back of here, you know, because you put a bolt on the back of here, then how are you going to undo it? So what I've done is I've made these up. So I've welded up some nuts. These nuts basically go on there like that, so that will just screw nicely. I haven't tried this, so I'm hoping it does. Oh, it's very difficult with one. There we are. Okay, so that works lovely. So so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld this to the roof, so basically these screw in. So I've made these up myself. So yeah, you are, look, perfect. So all we do is literally weld them to the back of the inside the roof, and then they actually screw onto there. Done. So that's the plan, and that's how I've done it. So basically, it's quite warm. Ow. Yeah, it's still hot. Okay. Ow. Yeah. So basically, what I've done is I thought that would have cooled down by now. Okay. But yeah, so I've just literally welded that onto there. That's just got to be undone now, and then obviously cleaned up. And what we do is we'll paint these as well, weld them on and paint them. So that's the plan on how to obviously fit this to the new roof, because obviously the old roof was completely rotten, so there was nothing left of it. So there we are. That's the plan for that. Right, as you can see, we're on the front here. Now, as you can see, this is now being prepped up, ready for the badge to go on. So what I'll do is I'm gonna spray paint that, just a little bit of you know, paint, just a bit of green undercoat. Once that's dried, then what we'll do is I will weld the badges, or that badge, back on there, the JCB badge. So that will be welded back on. Now they normally weld them in each 4 corners, but I'm gonna kind of do all 4 corners plus in the middle as well. And then once that's done, I'm gonna literally seal it up so there's no gaps, no water can get in underneath that. That's the plan for that. So that's what I'm going to do for that. So that's where we are on the front end. So I've got to literally repeat this on the other side. It is quite manky, but it's looking good. This is just the first coat of grey primer, just to, you know, get the rawness of the metal, keep it protected for now. And then once it's dried, obviously I'll paint the whole thing green primer, and then it'll go on with its main coat of green. But the plan is just to prep this up, clean up this front loader first, both sides, so the front loader's all cleaned up and prepped. And then what I'll do is I'll work in the middle section, the engine and all that department will all be repaired first and then painted, is the plan. So that's where we go for this. So that is the plan. So hopefully the next video you'll see will be with the badges on, and then hopefully they'll look half decent. So that's where we are now. Right, so where are we? As you can see, we've basically prepped this up. This has all been primered up, so this has all been done nicely. What I do is, with this, I use a hand paint and I use a roller. So I hand paint like these sections here in, and these sections over here, and you know, obviously, and then I basically roller to get an even finish. Once it's dry, then I'll get the DA sander on it and give it a good sand down. And once that's done, then obviously what I do is I put a green primer on, and then we give that a quick little flat down, and then we go on top with your 2-pack, which is a nice army green, 1970s green, which it would have had back then. So that's how I'm doing it. And as you can see, the roof's all on nicely now, so that's all on nicely, so I'm happy with that. That's really good. So basically now it's just a case of getting the rest of it prepped up. But you know, I'm being honest, it's a bit sandy out here and it's not very nice. It's not a good place to really, when I come to painting this, it's a nightmare. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tractor, uncover it all, take the tractor down to the front out here onto the main drive, and then what I'll do is I'll probably jet wash the whole tractor down, give it all a good jet wash, all good clean, start again basically, get all the dust and other bits of grease and give it another good jet down. That's the plan. All the front end can be done, the back end can just have a light clean up because it's all clean anyway. So that's what we're going to do. So that's where we are, and then I'll walk you around the roof, and we'll go around it. Okay, so when basically fitting the JCB window in, as we can see, we've done this one. So this is done nicely. Okay. So that's that done. Just showing you on the door. So this is obviously the door. There we are. So the particular rubber you're going to need is this one. As you can see, we've got some. This is leftovers. Got loads of it, to be honest with you. Is this particular rubber is what you're going to need for the JCB. Okay. So that's that, and then obviously you need an insert piece that basically literally goes in there like that, and this is this stuff here, tons of it, and that's basically that bit there, so it sort of basically goes around in there. Now the tools you're going to need is one of these, which is basically a fitting tool, and I would advise to get a couple of these. You can buy these from Halfords. I know most car shops will supply them, but I know Halfords do them. A proper good pair of scissors. So yeah, that's what you're going to need, and it's just basically a little bit of string as well, a bit of rope, which I've now lost, and basically yeah, just putting it in. It's as simple as that really, and as you can see, there's your outcome. So that's the inside of the window, but it looks good. That's the back window. So yeah, we're getting there. Right, so I'm really pleased with the outcome. So what I've done was I welded it in the corners. I decided not to do, I was going to do 4 corners and then I was going to do in the middle as well, but I decided not to do that because it might distort it. So yeah, I'm really happy with the outcome of that. So that looks really good. And then obviously what I've done was I've glued around here with basically a body panel glue, just to seal up the gaps so the water doesn't go behind the back and cause it to rot and pop these off, and that's what happens previously. So it's about sealing it all up, making it look good, and that's where we are. So, and I've just whacked a little bit of primer over it all, just so the welds don't go rusty, and then we'll do a bit of green primer again over the whole thing, and then top coat. We give it 3 top coats, so, and I'll give it sometimes, it all depends. This is going to have two undercoats in green and then 3 top coats. That's the plan. But we're using 2-pack on this because I like 2-pack. I love working with 2-pack. It's a good solid paint, and it gives you a real good, it's a good working paint. You know, you can drop a spanner on it and it ain't going to scratch it. So that's what I like. But we're getting there, looking good.